So as I've been learning how to pop wheelies and ride wheelies, I've learned that there's a couple important things to get your wheelie started off right and really be in control of it. Now, as I'm sure you and every other person looking at a Sur Ron has already watched, I've learned a lot of my tips from Sur Ronster's video, but I do have some tips to add on to that. First and foremost, when learning to pop a wheelie, I think that it's really important that you actually pop the wheelie high up off the ground initially, so you get a good pop. But before you really even start thinking about doing any of that for riding a wheelie, I've learned that as Sur Ronster has told us, it's extremely important to develop a mind-muscle connection with the back brake, because this back brake will prevent you from looping the bike, going all the way back and flipping back on your back. Ooh, got a little scared on that one. Also, it's extremely important to remember to keep your feet on the pegs. Never take your feet off the back pegs and bail off the back. Definitely took my feet off there, not good. Just remember to pull on that back brake to bring you down. Now, to add on to what Sur Ronster has taught us in his tutorial of how to ride a wheelie, in my opinion, this has been really beneficial for me to learn how to pop and ride a wheelie on the Sur Ron. And this tip is to basically just repeatedly practice popping a wheelie and intentionally using the back brake to bring it back down. Once I started doing this, I got really a lot more comfortable with popping a wheelie and getting it to that balance point, because prior to basically repeatedly practicing like a drill, popping a wheelie and using the back brake to bring it back down, I got really uncomfortable once I got up to the balancing point. Oh yeah. But if you basically ride slow, pop a wheelie intentionally too high, and know that you're going to use the back brake to bring it back down, this is what gives you a lot of confidence when you're popping a wheelie. Basically, up until I started practicing that drill, I was pretty much just riding power wheelies, and honestly, they're probably out of control. I was going way too fast, so if something did go wrong at high speeds, I probably would have got kind of messed up. So that being said, let's get started. So to start the day out here, we are on a full charge, and basically all I'm gonna do is work on compressing that front suspension, popping a wheelie, and using the back brake to bring it back down. See, I just used the brake to bring that down. I was a little past the balance point. Another tip that I learned along the way is to lean back, because the more you lean back and the more straight you keep your arms, the lower the balancing point of the bike is. So in the beginning, when I was learning wheelies, I'd find myself basically closing my arms in and pulling the front up. But really what you want to do, as Sur Ronster has taught us, is basically compress the front suspension, pop it back up, and pull straight back. Not up, but back. Simultaneously give it a little bit of throttle and kick it up and get a good pop. You don't want it to be like a slow process. A lot of times what I do to compress the front suspension is actually grab the front brake to compress it and then let off and then throttle and pull back. Do you have any pointers for me?
Just do it.
So what I want to do now is basically just pop it too far back and use the brake to bring it back down. Another tip that I have to add is it seems like the bike actually balances better when you pop it up and get it higher up off the ground. My other tip for you is do not be riding wheelies really fast. I think that if you master this at a slow speed, you'll be much better off and much less likely to injure yourself. If you can basically just pop wheelies going, you know, just 5 miles an hour and try to balance it at a really slow speed. Pretty decent. The tip for balancing it at a really slow speed though is you need to get it popped up pretty high up. If you don't pop it high enough, you're gonna find yourself basically power wheeling forward, giving it more gas to kind of keep the front up in the air. This is not what you want to do to ride a wheelie. When I was learning in my first progression videos, if you look back at some of those, I found myself getting up to like 20 or 30 miles an hour in some of them with the wheel still off the ground. Another tip I have for you is when the front is coming down, give it a little bit of gas so you don't completely smash the front suspension down and repeatedly come crashing down, because it's hard on the bike, but it's also hard on your body too. So if you just give it a little bit of gas as the wheel's coming down, about to touch, it'll make it a lot easier on everything, except the battery. Oh, there's a nail right here. I'm gonna save somebody a flat down the hole. Also, it helps to have a little bit of an incline, but you probably can't tell that's a slight incline, but it does reduce the balance point a little bit to make it a little easier. And finally, the other big thing that I'm still working on mastering is getting up to that balance point and then basically just applying a little bit of gas and a little bit of throttle. I find that if you have the brake sensors unplugged, so you can apply throttle and brake at the same time, because if you don't unplug those sensors or modify it in your controller, when you pull in the brake, it will take away throttle. Man, that was a good one where I was like, brake, throttle, brake, throttle. I was just too aggressive on the brake. So I find that if you can apply throttle a little bit and a little bit of back brake at the same time, that is kind of beneficial for balancing the wheelie. So when learning to ride a wheelie, it's just extremely important for you to get comfortable keeping your feet on the pegs and being past the balance point where the whole bike feels like it's about to tip back, and just that mind-muscle connection. Like Sur Ronster has told us, developing that mind-muscle connection to use the back brake to bring you down and not bail off the back. Also, another thing that I notice when popping wheelies is the more manpower you use on your own, the compression and pulling back, unless you're relying on using the throttle, the more easier it is to balance, because I find that when I apply the throttle too heavily, it almost kind of like wants to twist the bike a little bit, and the balance is a little more difficult if I rely on using too much throttle. Getting a little better at this every day. It's been a slow process for me, but I'm glad I haven't fallen off. So another tip I'm picking up on real time here is basically what I like to do when I get a wheelie that's feeling really good is I basically pop it up really high and then straighten my arms out and lean back. Like, as I find that I can like lean my weight back, it feels more natural and comfortable. Another thing I'm noticing is taking my feet off in the air. I'm like naturally doing it like the Sur Ronster. I'm wondering if he's doing that to do tricks or if he's actually doing that to balance himself, because I'm learning using your legs, you know, taking them and putting them on the side like that, it is a natural thing to help you balance. Starting to feel gangsta on this bike. I know I'm not, but I feel that way a little bit. That felt good, a little out of control though. I used the brake one time to kind of bring me back.
Alright, next contestant's up. It's a wild card, Polinsky from Hobart, Indiana. Oh my god, it looks like he's doing it. Oh my god, he might be taking home the gold.
big problem now is like leaning side to side.
Think you did it.
I don't know, that's about all I got today, but it's not an indefinitely balanced wheelie. I'm getting closer, maybe one day. Well, that is my wheelies update progression video, guys. If you did enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs up. Any questions or comments, leave down below. And any tips you have for me, I'd appreciate if you leave those down below as well. Click that subscribe button because we're almost at 1,000 subscribers now. And I really appreciate everybody who has already subscribed to the channel. Drop a comment below and I'll see you in my next video.